What's good, YouTube, man? Feels good to be back. I told y'all I'll be uploading, every 2 to 3 days. Yeah, just working on that, working on my regular 9 to 5, doing what I gotta do, putting these videos out for y'all, That's what I've been up to past 2, 3 days, past few days. My last videos, y'all are still watching them. I want to thank y'all for that. The views are getting up there. I'm almost at 300 views across the whole channel. It's going up, man. It's going up. But still, you guys are not subscribing. That's my concern with you guys watching my videos. A lot of the people watching my videos don't subscribe. And you guys go on one video, see it's nice, and watch the other ones and the other ones. Man, y'all gotta subscribe, man. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into today's video. Today's video is kind of more like educational. It's something that every young person around the age of 20 years old should know. It's just basic knowledge that I'm about to give y'all. So what I want to talk about is $10,000. Now, $10,000, is like the first financial milestone that kind of starts to set you free from a lot of things, right? It's not the life-changing money is not, or the money that's really gonna change things for you is not 50,000, it's not 70,000, it's not 100,000, it's really 10,000, and I'll tell you why. It's really important what you can do with 10,000 and how you can save up to there. If you're a guy around my age, around 18 to 21, even if you just started working, if you're around 16, 17 years old, so yeah, $10,000, guys. When you reach $10,000, when you upgrade your bank account from 4 digits to 5, that's when you get more confident with your money. You become more comfortable with your money, just comfortable with life, and a lot of stress, stressful problems around money, they don't go away, because 10,000 is still 10,000. It's not that much, in today's economy, but it's still a good financial milestone to where you don't stress about money as much as you did when you were about in the 0 to 5,000s and the 5 to 8 to 9,000s, right? With $10,000, you can have, you can still invest $1,000, $2,000, $3,000. You can put it aside to work on a, your clothing project, your cooking business, whatever business, whatever project that you want to work on. You can still take that $10,000, use $2,000 to $3,000 out of it, and you're still left with a good $7,000, $8,000 cushion. Now, for a guy like me who has no kids, who's only 22, no wife, no girlfriend, lives with my parents, that is really good money, reaching $10,000. It's a huge accomplishment, because you also start to feel more confident in a way where you're ready to take risks with your money. Like I just said, when compared to when you have $5,000, you risk 1,000 or 1,000 to 3,000. That's a big hit when you're at 5,000. But when you're at 10 and you use 2 to 3, 4, if you really want to stretch it, if you think in your head your returns towards what you want to invest in are going to be high, then you can reach for the 4. But I say that when you're at your first 10, maximum of 3, use it towards something smart. Please do. Don't just let that money sit, because once you get to 10,000, it's gonna take more efforts to grow that into 15,000, 20,000, 25,000, compared to the efforts it took you to go from 0 to 1 to 2.5 to 5 to 10, right? Saving those weekly paychecks, those bi-weekly paychecks, are not the way to go to build wealth, just by saving, right? You can save money to, like I said, to 10K, but then when you're at 10K, guys, please, try to invest that money into the stock market, because there is a good return. You get around You know, let's say you invest 10,000, you know, in the stock market, not your full 10, you're still guaranteed a good return. You know, if you invest in stocks that are high movers, you know, who are like a big part of the S&P 500, you can have a good return on $10,000, right? But obviously you're not going to put in the whole 10. Oh, so basically what I'm trying to say is when you have $10,000, guys, you guys can enjoy life a bit more, you know, but not too much to the point where you start falling back again. You know, your everyday expenses, you know, don't really creep up on you like that, don't really bother you like that. And that's still good cushion for emergencies. You know, most on the spot emergencies, you know, will cost like $500 and less, right? Or stretch it to $1,000. Now, when you have a $500 emergency, you know, $600 emergency, $200 emergency, $100 emergency, that's fine when you have 10,000, because you have 10,000, you remove 200-300, that's not really much. But let's say you're at 2,000 and you remove $200 to $500, that's a big hit. So that's the thing about money, right? Like once you get to like 5 figures, you know, you really gotta find ways to compound it, right? What I suggest you guys to do is to have a high interest savings account. You know, you can have a high interest TFSA savings account. You know, you guys can invest in your index funds. You know, you guys can invest in some really, you know, good stocks that are, you know, good, that have a good return yearly. You know, that's not the type of video I want to get into where I'm telling you guys about the stock market, what to invest. Nah. This video is really based around the $10,000. Now I've said what you can do with 10,000, right? The comfortability gives you, the confidence it brings you, what you can do with it, and how you can scale it. I've talked about all that. Now let's see how we can get there as young men, especially in this falling economy, the way we can get to 10K, right? Now let's say you're a full-time worker. Actually, let me not even get into it right now. The very first step to saving money is you gotta track your spending, right? Every day for a month, I challenge you guys to track your spending. Every day, you know, all the dollars, $2-3, all the 50 cents, the little money you're spending, every single dime that you're spending, put it down on paper. You know, you need to have an understanding on what you're spending money on, right? Because when you get to that end of the month, you'll see that you actually have habits that you thought that you didn't have that you got to actually cut out now. For example, you know, let's say you're a person who takes a lot of Ubers during the month. You know, at the moment when you're taking that $5-6 Uber, it might not seem like a lot, but at the end of the month, those $5-6, they add up a lot, right? Think about it this way. You know, all those $2-3 that we spend that we think that don't have an effect, they actually do. You know, like we go outside, you know, we want to, you know, we're thirsty, we buy a little drink, $2, fine, right? You know, we go to the depth, we go to the corner store, we buy some candy, you know, some gum, $2-3, cool, right? We go to McDonald's, you know, we want to buy a little meal, $5-6, cool, right? All these spendings that I'm just naming right here are spendings that we are guilty of every day, of spending those little amounts of dollars, right? But if you put that on a bigger scale, and you told yourself 10 times that, I'll just buy a coffee this time, $2 won't hurt. If you told yourself that 10 times, you wasted $20, right? Those small dollars that you guys are spending is actually hurting your pockets. Saving your money is not only about cutting down your big spending, like buying clothes, buying video games, you know, buying gifts for yourself, buying shoes, buying useless items on Amazon. Yes, cutting those out will save you money, but the real difference is if you can really be disciplined and not, you know, buy those little treats that you buy yourself. You know, like those little coffees, those little ice caps, those little drinks from the corner store. You know, like a little fast food meal here and there when you have a little craving. All that actually adds up. And when you write down your spending, when you track down your spending just for a month, guys, you will already, you know, have a feeling, have an idea of, damn, these are my habits. This is what I gotta cut out money on. this is what I gotta stop spending. Because also it's a psychological thing, right? Because you're gonna have, because you know that automatically every time you spend money, you're gonna have to write it down. Just that feeling of guilt of writing down the money that you spend, you're not gonna want to do it. So just that right there is gonna prevent you from buying small amounts of things, you know. You're gonna be like, I don't really need a coffee today. I don't really need this juice, I don't really need this today, maybe another day. The more you do that, the more you see that your money will start piling up. Right? Now, that's only for tracking it on your spending. Now, really, saving money, where it comes from, guys, is really, fixing your habits. If you have a habit of drinking, of smoking, this and that, try to cut it down, right? Try to moderately, try to do those habits in a moderation. Try to cut them down, Try to eat more home-cooked meals. You know what I'm saying? Eat more at home, guys. Buying clothes all the time, trying to stay in this, trying to keep up with the fashion trend. All that is just a brainwash to promote consumerism in North America. You guys don't need a new outfit every time you go out. No, that's just what social media putting in y'all brains from all these rappers and everything that we be seeing, that themselves, they be lying and say, I don't wear more than one outfit. I don't wear one outfit more than once. That's a lie, right? You really gotta stop letting outside factors influence your money spending habits. It really comes down to tracking it on your spending, realizing what you're spending on, what you shouldn't spend on, what's okay to spend, because we're gonna have necessities, right? Gas, groceries, this and that. All those spendings are gonna be necessary. But whatever comes after that is really up to you to control. So yes, saving money is tough in this economy, but saving money is really about breaking our habits that we think are not, eating us alive day by day. Right? So my challenge to you guys is, for 30 days, track down how much money you spend. Every day, write down your daily spendings, right? Try to see what you can fix. Try to see the bad habits you have. Try to see how you can improve certain things, right? And then before you know it, your money will start piling up. That's why, that's how you can reach 10,000 in my experience. And once you get to 10,000, you will see that, you have more abundant options around you. So yeah, man, 10,000, get there. Once you get there, let me know how it is in the comments below. If you guys have any more tips and tricks on how to save money, please drop them down below. If you guys want me to make more videos like this, please let me know. Drop a like on this video, subscribe, all that, man. I'm out.